10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, hello, hello. ¿Cómo están todos? Welcome to La Super Comadre Claudia show here on RadioCrystalUSA.com. I am so excited to be back and to be recording a new show for you guys. So I even put on my Supergirl shirt. Well, Superman, but we're going to call it Supergirl or Superwoman because I am the Super Comadre. So bienvenidos. Ahora, you know, we're at the last leg of the school year. Many teachers, parents, caregivers are just so ready for the year to be done with. I am one of them. But I just want to take this moment to say thank you, gracias, to all of the parents, all of the caregivers, all of the teachers who went above and beyond to make the school year happen. I've been seeing a lot of postings of people or students receiving awards for the best math award grades, or the best science project award, or the best academic. But you know what I'm going to do right now is I want to give an award to everybody that says, you know, to the best family member, person, student that survived the school year. That I'm going to give you that best. I would call it the best award because you did your best with logging in, logging on, staying connected, being a virtual student, being a face-to-face student, using the technology you had available, using the technology that you had afforded, was given to you or loaned to you. So I'm going to give you the best award for all of that. The award for being able to get up and go to school online, and for many children to become overnight adult learners and having to take care of their schedule and themselves at home, sometimes being at home alone while parents still had to go and work. So I want to give that award, the award for the best use of technology, of learning how to use Microsoft Teams, Google Docs, Google Classroom, all of the platforms that were used to make sure that kids were able to connect. I want to give the award the best in getting up and being able to get up and make breakfast for yourself and get yourself to school if you were a student. For the parents, the caregivers that had to take care of children, come together and take care of the neighbors' kids or las comadres' kids or the nephews or the godsons and the goddaughters, because you had to just come together as a village to make sure that people were able to go to work and still bring home the pay to take care of their households and themselves. I want to give the award to the best of being able to go to work every day and be able to handle everything that was going on, despite all of the changes that were occurring around us, to make sure that we were safe and that we didn't, you know, get sick from COVID. And many people got sick, and some people didn't make it, and some people were affected financially, health-wise, and what have you. So I'm going to give the award of the best to those that were able to take all of this, all of these changes, handle it with grace, handle it with courage, take it on. And if you broke down and you cried and were upset and were angry and, you know, everything happened and we're going to be okay. And we made it on the other side. And now we're starting to see, you know, people coming out, people connecting again with each other, with families, people going to businesses, people purchasing. So those are the awards I want to give out. The best of just surviving, and just surviving, and now thriving and moving forward and honoring and giving ourselves that honor and honoring each other, giving ourselves grace and giving each other grace, giving that time to just come together and say, wow, we did it, and mourn those losses and allow for that to happen, and then just get up and keep going. And that's all we can do. And that's what the Super Comadre Claudia show is all about, is what's out there, who's out there, what are some journeys that are bringing joy and light to an organization, or to a mural, for example, or to a food drive, or to a business. So that's what we're about. And I'm super excited to be here. Estoy muy contenta de estar aquí con ustedes con el show La Super Comadre Claudia. ¿Dónde está mi Super Comadre Liliana?
Aquí andamos, atrás de los controles. Un saludo, comadre. Yo aquí, mira, tomándome mi cafecito, porque si no, no duro hasta el otro programa.
That's a cafezote, girl.
Mi pequeña taza de café.
Hey, whatever gets you going and helps you go forward, y adelante.
Yeah, we have a show after your show, so I have to keep going.
Gotta keep going. What's new with you? What's been going on since the last
It's awesome. This year, it's been a lot better, and well, I've been singing a lot, and I'm so glad, and I thank God for that. And also, I've been traveling.
Yeah.
And this next week, I'm going to be traveling again, and I'm so excited. Yeah, that's what's been going on.
Yes, well, congratulations, felicidades, porque cantas tan bonito y he escuchado todo lo que pones y se dice posteas, ¿verdad? ¿Sí se dice?
Ándale, todo lo que posteas.
Bonito, con Freddy, con otros ¿cómo se llama el otro?
Otros cantantes, con Luis, también a veces me acompaña Luis, o también Enrique Infante, Luis Carlos Rodríguez, gran compositor, también me acompaña. Y bueno, grandes músicos que gracias a Dios me pone en el camino. También Yelva Hitten es excelente músico y cantante. Ella de su grupo, los acompañé en un evento muy bueno.
Sí, wow.
Y muy pronto tenemos un proyecto con ellas, está muy bien.
Qué bien. So I love to hear all that, all the good news, all the amazing blessings. Thank you for sharing.
No, thank you for bringing us a lot of special guests throughout the year, and it's been already 5 years on air. And I congratulate you for being on air also for 5 years también.
Thank you. I enjoy it.
Felicidades por 5 años en el aire. 5 años al aire en radiocristalusa.com. Muy contenta de que ahora tenemos más plataformas, tenemos más seguidores, tenemos más gente que se conecta en vivo por la radio y también en las páginas de Facebook, en YouTube, en Twitter, en Twitch y muy pronto en Instagram. Y bueno, lógicamente estamos en vivo también en radiocristalusa.com, en la radio.
Ya saben.
Oye, ya tenemos aquí a tu invitado. ¿Lo dejo que pase ya?
Sí, quiero presentarlo aquí antes de empezar la charla, el chateo. But I want to introduce to you one amazing human. He is a super compadre already, but he's back because he has something amazing to share. So bring him on.
Ahí está, Rich.
Hey.
How are you doing, Rich? Welcome.
How are you doing? Good to see you.
Doing good. Yeah. Oh, sorry?
So good to see you all again. I think it's my 3rd time on your show now.
That's great.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, always every time for a different reason.
I know.
It's always every time for a different reason, and that's great.
That's right. That's pretty good.
That means you're working.
Yeah.
That means blessings all around, blessings abound. And I'm so excited for you to come back and share some amazing news that the community needs to be aware of. And I love it. I've already heard it, but I want them to hear it from you. All the details, all the amazing work that went behind it. Because when you see something put together and you attend an unveiling, or you attend a dedication, or you attend a luncheon, or you attend a gala, or you attend whatever it is you attend that's beautiful and huge and full of people, attendance. There's always so much that goes behind to make that happen. And that's what I want you to focus on.
Before you continue, comadre, before Rich continues, I want to thank our sponsors. Thank you to all our sponsors for being part of RadioCrystalUSA.com for 5 years. And I want to thank Aroma Mexican Artisan Kitchen, who is giving away a dinner for 2 today at La Super Comadre Claudia's show. And also Patron Grill. Thank you for being our sponsor. They're not giving away dinner for 2 this week, but they're going to give away another one in 2 more weeks. Also, we want to welcome Awesome Maid Service. Awesome Maid Service serving Katy, Texas. Muchas gracias. Awesome Maid Service. Si tú necesitas que limpien tu casa, háblale a Awesome Maid Service. Hacen un trabajo excelente. Comadre, ¿necesitas que te limpien tu casa? ¿Ya le estás llamando? Yo también. Necesito que me limpien todo. Bueno, thank you, Awesome Maid Service, for sponsoring RadioCrystalUSA.com. BAMSA Global, thank you for being part of RadioCrystalUSA.com for 5 years already. And Mendelis Music, who is part of the radio since 2010. I mean 11. Así que muchas gracias a todos ellos. Y los dejo ahora sí. I'll be here behind the scenes.
Thank you. Yes. All right. So for those of you that are just joining, we have an amazing show. We have Rich Rodriguez here today to share some beautiful news. But I want to let you know, too, if you are listening right now, make sure that you comment. The winner for the dinner for twos that we're going to be choosing or selecting are going to be drawn from the commentators. So if you're commenting today, if you're liking it, you're sharing it, I'm going to go back and look, and I'm going to pull some names. And we have a dinner for two for Aroma Mexican Kitchen, which is for tomorrow, Wednesday. And that's in Katy. And then another winner, a dinner for two for La Tapatía in Sugarland. And you can eat there on Thursday. And so I'm going to be looking at those comments. So leave your comment there, and we're going to draw names from those comments right there. All right. So, Rich, from the last time I saw you, how has life been? How are you doing?
You know, I've been pretty well. All things considering, you know. We all went through this thing together, you know, but we all kept working a lot, working on different projects. You know, I told my sons, you know, it's very interesting. Before you really have to get out there and make a living, those are the only time you're going to get in your life to do a lot of self-improvement, you know. But we all got a year to do that, you know. And did you waste it? Did you use it? I don't know. I think what I did is subjective, but I kept working. And we have an amazing project that I think everybody's going to be proud of. One that centers around cultural preservation, history, and giving credit to people who maybe are unsung heroes, you know. Mm-hmm. And so what happened essentially is that I came up with this concept on how we can do those things within the mural arts world, because as you know, some of the more historic Latino parts of the city are now undergoing massive levels of gentrification and reinvestment. Mm-hmm. And we're losing a lot of that. And no better place can you see that as evident as ever is in Second Ward. Second Ward, you know, Segundo Barrio in Houston, one of the oldest communities, Magnolia Park, where, you know, I have a claim in, is undergoing that. And unfortunately, it's almost gone. I mean, you see it. It's even been given a new name that no one who's native embraces, you know, Edo, you know. So anyways, that being said, I devised this concept of a project where we could try to encapsulate and preserve some of that history on some murals. And I took it to the county, to their nonprofit arm, Texans Together, Precinct Together, sorry. And not to give credit to them and Karen Wolf and all the great people who work with that organization. And they commissioned 4 murals to do that. The first one we've completed, and it's at Navarro Middle School. And we're gonna have an unveiling on Saturday. But I'd like to say that in the within that same breath and within that notion of it's all about Second Ward, you know, on Saturday. And no better way could I express that than where I'm broadcasting from. You know, I'm broadcasting from the D&W Lounge in Second Ward. And I have the staple drug here, Johnny.
What's up, Claudia?
I know him. How are you?
He's not a drug.
Yeah. Rated #1 by Vice News, #1 dive bar in Texas, but we're here in the East End, and we're just hanging out and just talking about projects. And this is where a lot of culture and etc. not only exists but comes from. So
right.
Wow, it's born. It's born and created And let's
So
go.
Johnny's here with me, and and this is I couldn't think of no better place to represent Second Ward right now than in this place. But so about the project, yeah, and I thank Keith too, the owner here, who's been amazing.
Yes.
So 4 murals. The first one being, what are we going to do? So how are we going to start this journey about capturing culture and preserving it? I could think of nothing better to do than doing something for the young women in the community, the young Latinas growing up. So I devised a mural called the Latina Icons Mural, where we essentially wanted to represent some of the best of the local heroes and heroines, I should say, in the community. So what we did is we did a survey. We sent out a survey on social media to Facebook and all the other social media platforms, as well as some email. And we said, who do you think represents the community? Who would you put on a wall? We got back about 130 responses, and the top 5 we put on the wall. So when you see the mural, and I don't know if you have pictures of it, you can show a little bit later, but essentially what it is a young girl who is reading a book about the history of Second Ward, her community, and as of coming from her mind's eye, right? Like coming from her mind's eye, these women materialize behind her. And that's the flyer for this weekend. But I'll send you a picture of the mural if you don't have it.
Yeah, we're gonna put it up in a little bit.
Yeah, so as they're coming from her mind's eye, these 5 women materialize behind her, and the 5 women are as follows. Nelly Fraga, who many of you know is the longtime wife of former council member, state representative Felix Fraga. But Nelly has been just a real titan in this community. She started one of the oldest running ballet folklorico groups. She's been involved with the creation of TBH. She's been involved with so many things. She's just a titan, and she's a good friend. And I was so happy to see that the community had selected her. It was no surprise, honestly. And then some of the others they selected were Gracie Sines, right? First Latina at-large council member, first Latina mayor pro tem. Excuse me. An advocate, an attorney. She's a real titan as well. I mean, so she's also on the mural. Then we have Norma Centeno. Most of the community knows the Centeno family. I mean, their legacy goes all the way back to even before the father Robert. I mean, even their grandfather and them in the vaudeville days. There have been a long-standing family in the community. And Norma, we lost her tragically about 11 years ago. But her legacy lives on, and her brothers continue that legacy with Centeno's spirit. And Norma's on the mural. And then next we have Angela Morales, probably the one that's least recognized, not because she did anything lesser than the rest, just because of time duration. Just a long time ago, Angela was the wife, of Felix Morales, who most people know the funeral home. It's been over 90 years in operation, which is run by Cristina Morales, who's also the state representative of the area. And Cristina has done such an amazing amount of work, especially with the foundation that she runs with the Felix and Angela Morales Foundation, who's helped out so many. Every school year, everybody hears that name because it does so much for school kids and giving supplies and things of that nature. And they're always there when the community needs them. And so much so, Angela was a very early Latina entrepreneur. I mean, obviously she was a right hand to Felix, but who also created the first Latino radio station in the city. But Angela was also, many people don't know, she was a micro lender, and she would lend money out to a lot of the local small businesses just starting, often forgiving the loans, when they were successful. So she's just a titan. I mean, she even helped Ninfa and a lot of other people get started. So, and then after that we have Yolanda Black Navarro, right? so needs no introduction. I mean, she was an amazing woman. Obviously, she owned the Arcos and other things, and her son Christian has continued that tradition. An amazing attorney, and continues to run the business. But and the school's named after her, right? So I thought, what would be fitting to put the mural at her school. So all five of them are on the mural surrounding this girl, and this could not have been possible without the help of a lot of people. The first one I mentioned, besides the Commissioner Adrian Garcia, whose precinct is the main funder of these, which, you know, Adrian himself being people don't know this, he majored in arts as well. He was an art major, you know, before he got into law enforcement. Yeah, he was before he got into law enforcement. So he's always appreciated art. So we did that. Also, the East End Management District. I got to give shout out to Veronica Chapa and Krasinski, their board, and especially Martin Chavez and them for their help, because what they did is they power washed the wall. They gave us in kind of, you know, power washing the wall and providing the base coat for the mural. I got to give shout out to Sunrise Rentals. Sun Belt Rentals. Sun Belt, yeah, who helped with the lift that Helston needed for 3.5 weeks. And then Magellan Housing, who also assisted with some of the art supplies. But so getting to that, the real star of this is, I might be the one who put it together and conceptualized it, but, you know, you can come up with a great idea that doesn't look good.
True, that's true.
Sorry, you're hearing the East End Nightingale right now, which we call a train.
There you go. It's the real deal. It is the real deal. You're right there at the intersection where life happens, where commerce happens. Everything through there.
We don't have quiet zones here.
No, this is the real deal. And the beauty of that, the beauty of everything you just described. Say it again. You got the nightingale?
We call it the East End Nightingale, right?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Just to remind you.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I was saying was, I could have had a great idea if I didn't have a good artist. It would have meant nothing. Right?
Exactly. So I want to know how. I mean, I'm pretty sure the process is extensive. Is loud.
Yeah, hold on. It's passing.
No, it's okay. So I would love to know, you know, about the artist, the selection of the artist, you know, who this person is, and such an honor. I mean, you place in his hands this brush that just put magic. These women, these titans on the wall. And I mean, if I was the artist and you were to give me that task, I would be like, wow, this is like the honor of the century of my life, because you are now going to emblaze these women, these Latina leader titans, women that were movers and shakers. Like you said earlier, because, you know, Nelly Fraga, you know, you have, you know, the council member, you talk about the Morales, Angela, you always talk about feeling. And, you know, the Centeno. So there's always a saying that whenever there are especially back then, when women were not always given that spotlight, we were always working alongside there, pushing, talking, giving those ideas. And to be given this honor, this artist. Talk about the artist.
Well,
who's he selected?
Someone's teasing me on purpose over here.
No,
so honestly, it was never a question in my mind. I knew who the artist was going to be.
Okay.
I've known Helston for a few years now. His name's Helston Danilo Lemus. He's a Guatemalan-born artist who, during this process, actually got a citizenship. He got sworn in as a citizen. He was going through all that at the same time, you know. He's been here for over 10 years or so. He is probably one of the most amazing unknown people in the real art world. People know his work, but most people do not. and they're going to after this. I'll tell you that.
After this, for
Because,
sure.
yeah, because he's doing more than one of these murals, and he is just a phenomenal artist. Since I've met him, I said, dude, you're just one of the most talented men I've ever met in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because of his innate ability to paint, but because of his creativity. I mean, when you hear him work and you hear his mind going, you know, it's just phenomenal. The guy is a machine. So I gave him the basic concept of what I wanted on the wall. A girl and women around her, you know, that's kind of what I wanted. And he ran with it. And to his credit, and what he told me, he's like, what I really loved about the process with me is I didn't tie his hands. I basically said, I trust you. I know who you are. So show us what you can do. And he made it, you know, much better than I could ever have dreamed it was going to come out, you know. So GELSON is really, you're going to hear a lot more about him. He's done some work at Minute Maid Park. He's done work at NRG. He's done work all over the place, all over the country. But he's not a big self-promoter. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't show off. He's a very mild-mannered guy. He's very soft-spoken. Yeah. He's not, you know, showboaty. And look at that wall he did there, you know, Studio H. I mean, it's a huge thing. The man is just, there's one, a Lincoln one he done. Maybe we have that one on there. Or the Harriet Tubman $20 bill he did. That's amazing.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's just phenomenal guy. And the greatest guy to work with. And he did it all in like 3 weeks. And we had a lot of rain days, you know. And the craziest thing, I think the thing I remember most about working with him and seeing his process is that he very rarely came down from the crane. I'm like, how do you do that, dude? You don't use a grid technique. He doesn't sketch it first. He's with a spray can up there.
That's it.
Crane. And he can't even back off to see where he's at. And his proportions are perfect. Like, how do you do that? I mean, he stared at the wall for about an hour before. Then he goes up there on a crane and you don't hear from him again. He's up there. And he comes down and he's made a miracle happen. I mean, it blows my mind. Literally a miracle. Blows my mind. Yeah, blows my mind that you know, the power of the human mind that we can do that, you know. Yeah. And he's definitely one of its ambassadors for that skill set. Yeah. So it's exciting. I want to find. That just gave me goosebumps for you to describe the process, because I've watched artists work and I've watched where it's so meticulous, it's so intricate. They have the grids, or they draw this and they have that. They get up, they get down. But for you to say he was on a crane and he was freehand, that's freehand. Freehand, just like that. Huh. That just brought chills to me, because that right there is a talent. And I'm going to tell you something too, Rich. And you have children, I have children, and I work in education. And I just gave a shout out to all the teachers and everyone for surviving this year. I was giving awards for the best use of Microsoft Teams. That's what I'm going to give you. The best use of showing up and connecting and getting your work done with whatever challenges you had. But for us to always hold on that during this pandemic, problem solving was one of the key things that we had to hold on to. And art is one of those practices, whether it's an instrument, whether it's paint, sketch, where there is no one set way to do it. If it's music, if it's art, if it's giving children the opportunity to problem solve, and to see this gentleman put this up on the wall the way he did, just being told this is what we need, this is what our vision is, and for him to run with it, it's such a testament that problem solving and allowing children, young folks, especially those that we're bringing up and surround us, to give them those opportunities, because you never know what talent this child, this student has. And look at this young man right here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just sent you a picture of the mural to both of your messenger accounts, so you'll see it. Look at this building, by the way. Look at that building on there. That's what one he did, where it's a blank building. You can go back to that. I don't know if you can go back to that. Let's check it out. Yeah. White building, see that? And then look what he does with shading. Look what he does with this building. Amazing. Oh my gosh. This is truly, yeah. You know the show, Chavo del Ocho, right? What is it? Chavo del Ocho. Yeah. Look, he did someone's inside. Like, it looks like it's a real sink there, right? It's not. close to it.
What?
It's not. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is amazing.
Yeah, the guy's just phenomenal, you know.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, he's done so much great work. And we're gonna do more work. And so leading to Saturday. So
Yeah, so talk to us about Saturday, but before we get to Saturday, Liliana, can you please look up that messenger that he just sent a picture of the actual mural that will be dedicated and unveiled this weekend. So as he's talking about it, I want you to bring it up so that those that are watching, you get a chance to see it. And those that are only listening, I want for Rich to just talk about it and share it as you're describing it for the person that's listening and not be watching it. So here it is.
there it is.
Talk to that.
So as you can see, if you see those are bicycles on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a 4.5 foot fence, you know, normal fence. It gives you some notion of breadth or size, right? Because the wall's 40 foot high and it's 80 foot in length, width, I guess you'd say. So it's a huge thing, big old wall. There's a little girl. I don't know if you can zoom in on her at all, but that's the little girl in the middle reading the book. Everybody fell in love with the girl. I mean, everybody, who's the girl? Who's the model? Like, well,
I was just gonna ask you, who is the model for the little girl?
it's a secret. No, there really isn't one. Helson created her, but he did it in a way where she was, I don't want to call it racially androgynous, and is that the right word? You can't really tell what she represents, what community, what culture, because we put the spotlight on her. That way, you know, there's no real color to her skin or whatever. I mean, it's just, she could be anybody. She could be Asian, she could be African American, she could be Latina, she could be anybody. She's just representative of a young girl who's thirsty for knowledge and reading about her history. And then as to come from her mind's eye, you see these women appear on the wall magically, you know, and that's what you see behind her. And the coolest part about this is the first mural that I know of, and I think it's the first one in Texas at least, that actually has a QR code on the. It's a big QR code that he cut out, and that QR code when you go if you go to the Navarro Middle School, this is in the visitors parking lot. That's a side of a gymnasium wall on the outside, right? You click on the QR code, which all of us have become familiar with because of the pandemic. It takes you to a website that gives you the life story of these 5 women. So what's the watershed moment in the mural arts in this town, at least with this mural, is that we no longer have to tell the whole story or force ourselves to tell the whole story within the art itself. We can be creative. We can do different things, but yet we still have the story preserved in the QR code. I mean, it's all there. Yes. You know, it allows more artistic license. You know, it frees up the artist a bit to do more. So we're excited that that's activated now. You can read about every one of these amazing women and their contribution to this community and the city at large. And there it is in all glory. And every kid in Navarro can do it, and every kid in the neighborhood can do it. Some cool anecdotes about people in the community. Marisa Sainz, who's Gracie's daughter, a good friend, amazing woman in her own rights in trying to promote art. She lives across the street from the mural, right? Practically across the street. And she goes, when I back out of my driveway, I can't do it without seeing my mom staring.
Mom, she is. He's watching over you.
Watching over, yeah. So it's just pretty. But the reception we had when he was painting it too, like there were young men. Men will come out with their children and say, you know, this is going to be here for a long time, and I want my kids to remember when this got put on this wall, and they got to meet Helson, and they met me and other things. Helson, more importantly, and said, you know, this is history, and that brings a lot to me because I remember when Leo Tanguma painted the rebirth of our nationality on Canal. I wasn't born yet. I was a year before. I think before I was born, he painted it. But my dad was there, and he remembers meeting Leo. So people remember things like that. You can't help but be entrenched, I should say, in the history that surrounds these kind of things, you know.
Yes. And you mentioned before we started a little bit about what's happening there in the area.
Yeah.
And you know that there's change happening.
Yeah.
And one of the things we're talking about is, in order for something like this to happen, this mural for the women that need to be put on there to preserve our history, our Houston history, not just Latino. I don't just see it now as Latino, but our Houston history. These women belong in that lineup, always have, and now will be forever. But for us to be able to have that, all the work, when people say, I don't think I should vote, I don't think I need to be involved in politics, I don't like everything is political.
That's right.
From the water you drink every single morning when you brush your teeth, the water that goes in your mouth, politics goes behind that. We got to make sure the water is safe. To the glass of milk you drink, there's FDA regulations to make sure that milk is okay for you to drink. Then that's when I try to bring it home. And for this right here, when you see the name of a high school named John H. Reagan, for example. Well, why was that school named John H. Reagan? Okay, well, there were some people that had the chance to name it that. There was Jefferson High School, which is now Northside High, which I think there's where Nelson and Helson went, I think, correct? Why was that school, why was that school named that? Well, I don't know. Well, but we were not in the room when those names were made, when those decisions were made. So this, I want us to talk a little bit about the power of having a seat at the table or a representative that carries our voice to the table.
Yeah, and Navarro Middle School was Jackson Middle School. And most people know it as Jackson Middle School, right? I mean, my father went to Jackson Middle School, and many people probably watching this know it as Jackson, you know? Yeah. So now, Yolanda Black Navarro, it's important because, and you know, we've talked about this before, art is political. I mean, the mural art started by people like Rivera, yeah, who couldn't get a voice, couldn't get a audience, forcing the conversation. And the way you force the conversation is by putting a giant ass picture on a wall that no one can ignore.
There you go. You can't miss that.
You can't ignore it. It's a giant ass thing. So you force the issue, you know. And so the arts have been a big part of political social justice for a long time. And they're going to continue to play a part in that role. And we're going to have a very cool announcement about that. And one of the murals we're doing in the future, I'm not at liberty to talk about now, but that it's going to be really big for this community. And it's part of that same thread and that part of that same story. So it's just fun to live in history.
Yes.
You know, not be a student of it, but to live within it as it's happening, you know. And
being that voice to make sure it happens. Yeah. You know, bringing that voice to the table, because when things like this happen, it's like party planning, event planning. There's so many moving pieces, but to be able to do this now at this moment, I think it's so needed. We have finally a first woman as a vice president. We have Kamala Harris. We've had so many women coming into elected positions. So just what a great way for like my daughters, to see these women on a mural and for them to also know the history, because my being here, having graduated from those colleges that are on my diplomas behind me, my degrees, has something to do with the Morales family, has something to do with the Felix Fraga family. My parents lived in Clayton homes when they first got to Houston, separately with their own families. And the Fraga and Nelly, the Fragas were always there making sure that things were happening. And my parents benefited from that. So my very existence of being able to be here and say that I've done so many things only because I stood on the shoulders of my parents. And they stood on the shoulders of people like the Morales family, the Fragas, and that my daughters and that your kids, our kids, know that they come from greatness and they belong here, and there's no question about it.
And to my knowledge, what I've been told is this is it's the only mural in the state of Texas that features all Latinas,
Mm.
all Latinas. So the empowerment of that, the empowerment behind, it was all in the behind putting it together. And my phone is getting a little close to not dying, but because of that, I want to talk about Saturday, if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So Saturday, June 12th, 2 p.m. at Navarro Middle School, we're going to have the official unveiling. Commissioner Adrian Garcia will be there to talk about a lot of things we talked about today. But we're going to be it's going to be a host of friends and a celebration of 5 families, 5 legacy families from this community and the city, hosted by and emceed by a mutual friend of ours.
Yes.
Blanca Beltran will be our MC. Blanca's great. She'll be emceeing it all. We'll be giving credit to Principal Cruz and Stephen Deutsch from Navarro, who were great hosts, and we're just so welcoming and accommodating and us getting this done. And then we'll have representatives of the family speaking to each person on the wall. We'll have some ballet folklorico dancers from Nelly's group there to entertain everybody. And then, just be a great happy day in Second Ward, talking about long-standing history and celebrating the amazing lives of these Latina icons.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be magical. It's going to be beautiful. What time should people get there? Because it starts at 2. Should we start parking around 1?
Yeah, 1:30, 1:20 or so.
But are they blocking off the street?
Maybe earlier because, well, see, they're underestimating that. I won't go there. I think a lot of people are going to show up. I think it's going to be.
I think it's going to be crazy. I mean, I'm hoping that they got security. They got stands. They have
chairs, tents, and all that, refreshments and all that. But I want my friends and everybody from the neighborhood in Second Ward. I want them all to show up. I want you to show up and show the county that we're worth investing in, and that we come out and we appreciate it, and that we need more of this. So I hope everybody up and supports the effort.
And it's outdoors. It's outdoors, friends. So we're coming out of COVID. We're gathering in groups, but it's outdoors. And so it's going to be an amazing opportunity, especially for the young folks, the kids, the people that are moving in to the neighborhood as well. They also need to see, Yeah, they need to see that there is already greatness, that there is greatness that is there established. They just happen to be coming into it.
Right. That's fine. More the merrier.
More the merrier.
But got to acknowledge what's here and what's been here.
Yes, Mike One, he just commented, born and raised in Second Ward. I will be there. Awesome, Mike. See you there. Linda Lopez, I love the art. Laura Lee and Terate Houston. She said, congratulations. So we got some people commenting. We're going to pick some names from here, and you guys are going to win the food, the dinners for 2. So
and I just want to mention something. I want to say I'm so blessed also to have known Miss Fraga since 1993, and I love her to death. And she's been part of a lot of lives.
Yes.
A lot of people's lives, and I thank God I met her, and I thank God she's still my friend. I love her.
She's a testament to the old adage, right? Behind every good man's a great woman, right?
Exactly. So. Exactly. True to form.
Yes.
Yeah. Super.
Excellent.
All right. So final words. I know that you're gonna run and get ready for this weekend, but final words for the listening audience, and as we go into the weekend and get ready to celebrate this unveiling and the women on it.
Yeah, well, I guess what I'd say is, especially for people who grow up in these kind of communities. I'm from Magnolia Park, just down the street. So oftentimes we don't recognize the rich culture we grow up in, just because maybe it's economically depressed, or for whatever reason it doesn't look like maybe the community you want to be in, or supposedly what society tells you want to be in. When you get older, you realize you didn't appreciate where you were from, But there's so much history here, so much amazing history, so many amazing people that have come from this part of town. Do your part. I mean, participate, not just in this vein, but in especially in the voting. Who you elect to represent these communities are just as important. You know, if you don't, then it'll change, and everything is going to change anyway. But I guess I'd leave you with the quote that me and my cousin have at our gallery. It says, "Never forget where you come from, because you never know when you have to go back." Right?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Very true. Thank you. Thank
Thank you
you
so
for
much
doing
having me on. It's been a labor of love. It really has.
It is, and I am honored to be there, to be there to just support and spread the news and spread the word, and it's going to be just an amazing, magical place. And
again, comadre.
I'm gonna start crying, but I want to thank you, because I know how hard you work. I know how much work goes into this, and seeing the behind the scenes, and to see this to fruition. Gracias.
Thank you.
Hey, y antes de que nos vayamos los tres, I want to share something with the public. Algo de Rich Rodriguez que mucha gente no sabe.
We're
About
going
his
to
music.
leave. Yes, Rich is not only behind the scenes making things, behind the scenes too. Watch this.
Yeah, vean esto. I need to share it para que todos lo vean. Con esto nos vamos, comadre.
Con eso nos vamos.
Gracias, Rick. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Por todo lo que haces por toda la comunidad. Mira.
A ver si se oye, comadre.
Sí, pero a ver, déjame, es que lo tengo que hacer más chiquito porque si no, no lo puedo hacer para acá. Ahí está. Yeah. Excelente. Bravo, Rich.
The right people in the right place. I mean, you're promoting the arts, but you too are an artist yourself.
Thank you.
Vamos a ser solidarios con ustedes y vamos a tener un castillito, pero antes queremos un
Bueno, gracias y gracias a nuestros patrocinadores. Muchas gracias. Y al ratito va a decir la comadre en los comentarios quién ganó la cena.
Sí. And
Thank you, Mike Barrón, Lindo, Laurel. Bueno, y todos los que se conectaron en la radio, gracias.
Gracias. So yes, I have all the names down, comadre, and I'm going to pick a name.
All right. Bye-bye.
And post it in the comments. Hasta luego. Adiós.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.